Alright, welcome back to the Human Reviews channel. Today we are listening to the new The Smile album, Wall of Eyes. I have been pretty excited for this album basically ever since the title track, Wall of Eyes, came out. I know Bending Hectic came out before that, but I didn't actually know it was part of this album. I just assumed that was a B-side off of A Light for Attracting Attention. I've heard all three singles so far, Bending Hectic, Wall of Eyes, and Friend of a Friend. I've enjoyed all three of those songs. And I'm like genuinely very intrigued to see how this album pans out because it's 8 tracks and 45 minutes. Like this album has like all of the songs on here are like decently long, with the shortest song, Friend of a Friend, only being 4.5 minutes. So I'm very intrigued to see how this turns out. The Smile, of course, are a Radiohead side project consisting of Radiohead frontman Tom York, Radiohead guitarist and string arranger Jonny Greenwood, and newcomer Tom Skinner on drums. And their last album, A Light for Attracting Attention, I found to be decently solid. It wasn't the most mind-blowing thing on the planet. I didn't think it was quite as good as the majority of Radiohead material, but I still found it to be decently enjoyable, and there's still a handful of tracks I return to on that album, like Free in the Knowledge and Thin Thing and stuff like that. So yeah, it definitely adds like a little bit of replay value to me. And honestly, I didn't expect The Smile to continue releasing stuff after that, especially after the first Tom York side project, Atoms for Peace, only dropped one album, did some touring, and then left it there. But apparently this is becoming like a full-blown project now, and they're going with numerous albums and probably more down the line in the future. This album came out literally today, 8 songs, 45 minutes. Yeah, I'm just very excited to get into this. Yeah, this album has been getting very, very positive reception online. As of when I'm filming this album has an 86 critic score and an 83 user score on Album of the Year. It's already marked as a must-hear album on the first day it's come out. So yeah, people seem to be absolutely loving this, like even more than A Light for Attracting Attention, which is definitely a promising sign. And honestly, based on the singles I've heard, this is looking like it's gonna turn out to be better than A Light for Attracting Attention, because I already like the singles I've already heard more than the majority of the songs on that album. So, with that being said, I'm just gonna get straight into it. Track 1, a song I've already heard. Track 1, title track, Wall of Eyes. This song does actually remind me a lot of that Atoms for Peace project in terms of like the very echoey vocals and the very stripped back instrumental. It definitely does remind me of something that could have landed on that album, which is honestly very interesting. I do enjoy that album quite a bit, and there's a handful of tracks I return to a lot on there. And hearing a song that sort of like sounds like that is pretty cool. Amazing string arrangement from Jonny Greenwood here. This album isn't produced by Nigel Godrich, is it? I remember seeing somewhere online that they got someone else to produce this one. Let me see here. Yeah, Sam Petz Davies. What else has he produced? So he did Tom York's Suspiria soundtrack. He's produced a Water Paint album. Haven't heard that. And a Marika Hackman album, which I also haven't heard. But yeah, he did produce Tom York's Suspiria remake, which a lot of people seem to really enjoy, which I actually haven't heard yet. I'm liking his production so far. It definitely is different enough from Nigel Godrich's that it has a very unique element to it, but it still feels very much like a The Smile slash Radiohead style of, I guess, sound, which I really like. It's nice to have something a little different. Like, it still feels like the same level of quality production that, like, Nigel Godrich provides. Yeah, great string arrangement on this one. Yeah. I still like that song just as much. Hello? You gonna pause? There we go. Still like that song just as much as when I first heard it. I think that the atmosphere that track builds is probably the strongest thing about it, as it's very... like, it paints such a vivid picture of what it wants you to see when listening to the song, I guess, and it does a great job at it, honestly. I think just the sound of that is incredible. How do I not get slapped with copyright? I pause and talk. Lots of reactors make the mistake of, like, not talking, saying like 2 words at the end of a song, and then continuing and not talking again. That's not how you're supposed to do it. You need to stop and give thoughts and stuff like that. And I do get slapped with copyright. That's why I have to edit these down. Yeah, that's a very strong intro to this album. It does a great job of setting its tone. It does... it sounds fantastic in terms of, like, the production with this new producer and the very interesting atmospherics of the track, like the little subtle string arrangements that Johnny Greenwood has put in there, and like the little electric guitars towards the end. It does a great job of building at the end as well. Yeah, that's a really nice way of starting this album. I'll give it like a flat 9. I really like that song. I love it. Alright, next track, a song I haven't heard, Teleharmonic. There's no lyrics, I gotta get Genius up. Man, is there not a dark mode on Genius? Why is it so bright? Yeah, I'm loving the much more, like, roomy sound of this album. The previous album, A Light for Attracting Attention, was much tighter and felt much more like a Radiohead album in terms of production. But this one, from, like the singles and even this song, it's definitely much more roomy and uses space a lot differently than the previous one does, which I find very interesting. I'm liking that this is a more electronic track as well. The first song was like an acoustic guitar, reminded me a little bit of Present Tense off of A Moon-Shaped Pool, with its very like pop-centric sound. Well, not like full-on pop, but like it's sort of like an acoustic pop sound to it. This one definitely feels much more like a Tom York solo track in terms of its electronics. That was a great chorus. That sounded like completely different to like anything like Tom York has done before on like Radiohead and even his solo stuff. That was such a like strange, very unique chorus. That was great. Amazing bass line on this one. So he's referencing Jesus' crucifixion here, which is interesting. Religious reference. Let me read through these lyrics real quick. See if there's like any religious meaning behind this. I'm looking through. It doesn't seem to be very religion based in the lyrics here. Interesting. I don't know, I'm not really like understanding much of the lyrics on like a first listen here, but it's alright. Oh. Yeah, the recording of this is amazing. This producer is doing a great job. You know, one of my biggest complaints about A Light for Attracting Attention is that it just felt like Radiohead light, like a lot of these Radiohead side projects have. Tom York solo stuff feels a lot like Radiohead, and the first Smile album just felt like Radiohead. Atoms for Peace was a lot different, but still had a lot of Radiohead elements. This is actually doing something completely different. I'm seeing little aspects of like a moon-shaped pool and even a little bit of In Rainbows on here, but it doesn't just feel like we're doing Radiohead 2. It doesn't feel like that. It feels like its own completely separate thing, which is why, as of right now, I'm preferring this to A Light for Attracting Attention a lot. Like, it's embracing a lot of like pop elements, surprisingly. Like, these drums sound like they're ripped straight from a pop track, which is surprising and very cool. This is like very, very strong right now. It's taking A Light for Attracting Attention. It's looking at the reception of that album and lots of people just calling it Radiohead Light. And they are actually taking this project in a very unique and different direction that doesn't just feel like Radiohead's side project with two Radiohead members. It's actually something new and refreshing, completely different than like anything that we've seen Tom York really work on before. While still incorporating certain elements from, again, A Moon-Shaped Pool and In Rainbows that elevate it. And I think the reason for that is because it's a new producer. Like, it's still at the same level of quality as Nigel Godrich's production, but it's, like, still stylistically very different. It's much more roomy, and it's using space as its main tool, which, in all of the songs I've heard from this album so far, the 3 singles and this one, is working very well in its favor. I would give that song... I'll give that song like a 9.2. I think I honestly like that song a little bit more than the title track. That was really great. Alright. Next track, Read the Room. This intro's okay. It's just not really as strong as the previous two started off, where the previous two instantly built the environments they wanted you to sit in. This one sort of feels just a little scattershot and isn't really pulling me in quite as much as the previous two did, though the production is still fantastic and it's absolutely carrying. It takes these kind of phone calls, these candy episodes. Who knows what it wants? Ooh, nice. Okay, as the song's going along, it's making me realize that this album seems to be just the 3 band members experimenting with different sounds. Like, they're trying to make something completely different. And it's kind of working. We've had the more acoustic, like, low-key track at the start. We've got the electronic, sort of Tom York feeling track. And now we have a more rock-centric track. It seems like they're going to be bouncing around different styles that you would normally find on, like, Radiohead projects, but doing them in a different way. I see. Okay, because I thought it felt very scattershot at the beginning of the track, but no, they are just bouncing around different styles between each track and experimenting. I see. I understand now. Again, this album feels very poppy. I don't know why, but they're just implementing so many elements that just feel like pop. Like, it's very accessible, I'll say that, where a lot of Radiohead's later stuff, like A Moon-Shaped Pool and Tom York solo stuff and the first Smile album, it's definitely, like, less accessible than a lot of the earlier stuff. This seems like it's going back towards a more poppy sound. It's obviously not, like, full-blown pop or anything like that, but it's implementing lots of pop elements, particularly in the rhythmic sections, like, especially in the drums. And I find that very interesting. It's making for a much different sound that I wasn't expecting. I love this chorus. It's so random. Yo, this is just like a straight up rock track. Cool. This outro's amazing. Love the way the drums are recorded on this. Okay, so as this album is reaching this point, I'm understanding what it is. It is a collection of the it's basically the band experimenting on every song. They're trying something different. They're taking the sounds you would typically expect from like a Tom York project. You have an acoustic song, and you have a rock track, and you have an electronic bass track, but it's taking them in completely different stylistic directions and trying something new, incorporating different sounds with a new producer. You can still tell it's Tom York and Johnny Greenwood on this album, and even Tom Skinner. His drumming does remind me a little bit of Phil Selway, but it's something different. And not only is it something different, it's something that is fantastically enjoyable. Wasn't crazy on the intro of that track. It was a little difficult to get into, but as it went on, it just got stronger and stronger and stronger. And that outro was absolutely amazing. One of my favorite choruses. Probably my favorite chorus, actually, on the album so far as well. Yeah, that one was really nice. I give that one another flat 9. That was great. Really strong. Up next. Next track, Under Our Pillows. Okay, another interesting guitar intro. Red Hot Chili Peppers riff. In terms of like the actual notes themselves, kind of, but like the recording of it and the guitar tone doesn't really feel very Red Hot Chili Peppers. Is this the longest song on the album? No, Bending Hectic is the longest. This one's 6 minutes though. What the, huh? Okay, it is in 5. Just the guitars were confusing me because it sounded like a bar of 5 and then a bar of 8. Yeah, it's definitely in 5, okay. Love the vocal layering on this one. Yeah, this one's being carried by the vocals right now, I'm not gonna lie. The instrumental is solid, but it's not really blowing me away as much as the previous 3 songs have. I can't speak, not up to this point in the song at least. But yeah, the vocals on this song might be my favorite on the album so far, I'm not gonna lie. Especially the layering. The layering is incredible. Ooh. Very interesting switch up, and we're only halfway through the song, and the lyrics end after this bit. Okay, we've switched to 4/4 now. Great job of building. The hell was that? Whoa, that's sub bass. Again, that sub bass when it comes in just fills the whole song. While this outro is very interesting, it is a little long. I feel like this could have been shortened a bit. Okay. Closes off very strongly, though, I will say that. Okay, I'm going to start by saying this. That was my least favorite so far, but it was still very good. It's just, I feel like it's the song that just grabbed my attention the least. Especially with it being the longest, I feel like it could have been tightened up a bit. And I also feel like it just didn't, like, it didn't build as strong an atmosphere as any of the previous 3 tracks did. But that being said, it still does lots of really interesting things with its sound in terms of like trying something new and experimenting. The build up in the second half of that song is amazing. How do I put this? The song is still great. It's just it feels the most like a song that could have landed on a light for attracting attention so far. It definitely is the one that feels the most like Radiohead light. But it's still doing something interesting, and it's different enough to the point where I still find it to be pretty enjoyable. I would give that one like an 8.3. Still like really so I still like really like that track. I would still probably return to it. Just isn't as strong as the previous ones. Now I ask myself the question, this is only an 8-song album, but do I make this a 2-parter? Next track, another song I've heard, we have Friend of a Friend. The music video for this one came out last night, and it was like them performing in like a school. With like a 2-minute silent movie at the beginning. Honestly, when I listened to the song again last night for the music video, I think this one is now like my favorite of the singles. This one is like I all throughout like last night and throughout the day, I have been like dying to listen to this song again. It's been stuck in my head the whole time. Stop looking over our shoulder as our friends step out to talk and wave, catch up. Yeah, that echo effect. Amazing. I guess I believe in an altered state. Oh, the bass on this track is so good. This song is definitely the best example of how incredible the production on this album is. Again, when I saw that this was going to be produced by a different person, it had me a little bit worried, because I was like, okay, Nigel Godrich has done like this sound with Radiohead and with the first Smile album so well for so long. Going with a different person, I don't know how good it's going to be, but it's like actually amazing. It's still on the same level of quality as Nigel Godrich's production, which I've already said multiple times throughout this, but this song is the best example of it. I think the production is absolutely incredible on this. The orchestral elements is so good as well. Johnny Greenwood is so good at arranging like the orchestral elements. Yeah. That song, definitely my favorite single from the album. That's honestly probably my favorite song so far, full stop, as well. It's, like, again, best example of how great this new producer is with, like, the Smile sound. Even from, like, the echo effects on the vocals to, like, how thick and rich the bass is. The recording of this from the piano to the incredible drum sound that, again, is very... It does sound like the way, like, jazz drums are recorded, which is really cool. Also, one of my favorite Johnny Greenwood orchestral arrangements on a Smile track on this one as well. The way it builds is absolutely incredible. I give the song a 9.6. It's my favorite one so far. It's great. Definitely my favorite single from the album. It's so good. We continue. Next track, I Quit. Oh. Yeah, that panning effect is great. It sounds so, I guess, robotic. It's honestly reminding me. No, this is going to sound blasphemous. It's reminding me a little bit of the King of Limbs. Okay, it's reminding me a little bit of like an effect that might be used on the King of Limbs, except it's not complete trash. I'm joking. The King of Limbs is alright. It's alright. It's alright. Okay. The intro to this song is a little weak, I'm not gonna lie. Of every single song so far, this is the first one that I'm not able to get into. I feel like this is really, it's too slow. It's not building, it doesn't really feel like it's building to anything yet. The introduction of the strings here is sounding nice, but the first 2.5 minutes of this song haven't really done anything to interest me in the same way any of the other tracks have so far. Yeah, the string arrangements are definitely the best thing about this track. Seeing here on Genius, it says this is one of only 2 songs that wasn't like played live before its release. Apparently they've played most of the songs live already. I didn't even know that. Yeah, moving into the outro. Man, that sucks. Hey, listen. We've reached the final 3 tracks and we have our first miss on the album. As it's moving into the outro, I'm just kind of waiting for this track to be over, I'm not gonna lie. This one, yeah, I'm just not really able to get into it. It's got a really nice string arrangement and the effects are kind of cool. But man, this is slow. It is very slow. Alright, cool little outro, I guess. Yeah, that's the first song that I just wasn't really feeling all that much. It had a lot of cool elements. Again, the effects were very interesting. The string arrangements, the orchestral elements on the song as a whole are great. But this song just feels a little too slow, feels like it doesn't really go anywhere, and it's too long, in my opinion. This one, I don't know, I give this one like a 6.2, I guess. It's not bad, it's still like technically in the green, but I just wouldn't really return to this one. Hey, listen, 6 tracks in of an 8-track album, and you have the first song that I'm not really feeling all that much. That's pretty good. This album's definitely a lot stronger than A Light for Attracting Attention as well, honestly. And I actually liked A Light for Attracting Attention, so... Alright, up next, the final single here on the album, the first single as well, that was released. We have Bending Hectic. I have heard this song. It's the longest song on the album too. 8 minutes. I've not really listened to this one much since it came out, so... Yeah, it's been a while since I've heard this track. I don't really remember this intro. I'm changing down gears of inches of top from the 60s. We're coming to a bend now. I love this. Yeah, it's been a while since I've heard this track. I remember it being slower and more, I guess... well, yeah, slower. I was about to say more slow. Yeah, obviously. I remember it being a lot slower. But, like, this is even better than I remember it being. This is so much better than I remember it being. I remember, like, kind of enjoying it, but not being crazy on it. But returning to this, hearing it in context of, like, the rest of the album, this is amazing. Italian mountainside. Oh, the strings. Yeah, I have no clue why I wasn't as crazy on this the first time I heard it. Like, I liked it, but I just wasn't, like, loving it. But returning to it, this sounds amazing. Yeah, this album has just, like, incredible low end. Like, just the bass and, like, the recording of the drums. It's just all... Like, the best aspect about this album is just how incredibly recorded all the low end is. Like, it's incredibly recorded all around, but I feel like the bass is definitely my favorite thing so far. And these toms as well. This is honestly my favorite vocal performance on the album so far. Like, easily my favorite. It's incredible. That thing with the guitar where it's just like going up and up and up. It's so cool. I don't know what that's called. I don't play guitar, but it's so good. Oh, the strings. Yeah, that reminds me a lot of a Moonshaped Ball. Completely forgot this switch up. Okay. Ooh. Yeah, that song has grown on me so much. Yeah, first time I heard it, I enjoyed it, but I wasn't like crazy. I wasn't crazy on it or anything. I was like, okay, this is solid, but it definitely felt to me at the time like a light for attracting attention B-side. But returning to it in context of the album, I think this song is like actually basically perfect. It doesn't overstay its welcome with the 8-minute runtime. It has probably my favorite vocal performance on the album so far. The way it progresses and that switch up at the end is incredible. Probably the best string arrangement on the album so far as well. Genuinely speaking, I think that song is possibly a 10. I'm gonna say it's a 10 for now. That could change in editing. But for now, I like legitimately, that song has grown so much. That was very good. That felt like it would have been such a strong closer to the album too. I'm curious to see how this next track is going to be able to close it. All right, next track, final song, song 8, You Know Me. Cool. I like that we're ending with a more stripped back song. It does sort of feel like Bending Hectic could have done a really good job at ending the album off, but I'm only like a minute and a half into this one, so I'm not going to judge it too early. I do like that we're getting a more stripped back song to close it off, though. It's a nice change of pace. Not change of pace, change of tone, I guess. Great vocal layering there. Nice. Yeah, bringing in the strings is great. Okay. That was a very strong track on its own. Again, I like that we're getting a more stripped back sound. It's not as filled out as the other songs, intentionally so. And I like that. It's just keeping it very simple. The piano is recorded incredibly. I like that the vocals are like recorded in a different way, where on the previous tracks they felt very roomy and spacey, where on this track they feel much more tighter and more intimate. String arrangement is fantastic. I love the way the drums are recorded and like mixed very subtly, I suppose. As an individual song, it's very good, but I feel like Bending Hectic would have been stronger as a closer. Genuinely, because I'm not sure. I don't know. Both of these songs work as closers. It's just I think I would have preferred Bending Hectic as a closer just a little bit more. Again, I don't know. Maybe it's just because I like Bending Hectic more than this song, and it feels like that would have been a good closer. Is why I think that. But I do genuinely think Bending Hectic could have been like a really amazing way to close this album off. Either way, this is still a good track. I'd give this one like an 8.6. Yeah, that sounds about right. 8.6. It's still a very solid way to close the album off. It's still a great track, but I do feel like Bending Hectic would have worked just a little bit better. And that is it for Wall of Eyes. Real quick, I'm going to add up my scores, and I'm going to add up my scores, and then I will let you know what my overall score for this album is. Yeah, that sounds about right. I am feeling an 8.7 out of 10 on this album. Yeah, it's really solid. It's great. I honestly like this more than A Life for Attracting Attention. There aren't really any bad songs on this album. Even I Quit, which ended up being my least favorite, I still saw it as like a decent enough song, just not one that really appealed to me all that much. Lots of great tracks on this album. I love how different it is. I love that it takes the band's sound in so many different interesting directions, and it doesn't just feel like Radiohead 2.0. It genuinely feels like, for the first time on a Radiohead side project, it actually feels like a different band. You can still tell it's Tom York and Johnny Greenwood in there and stuff, but like the directions they take the sound in, and obviously the different production from a new person. What was his name again? Let me see what his name again. Sam Pets Davies, that's his name. The different producer allows them to explore new territory and create a new sound for the band. Yeah, this thing is solid as hell, really strong. I'm excited to see what they do under the Smile going forward, even though I think we're getting Radiohead LP 10 before we get the Smile 3 out, aren't we? Because I remember Phil Selway said they're planning on getting together and recording music again soon, which I'm assuming they're going to do once the Smile are done touring. Which is exciting, so we'll probably be getting Radiohead LP 10, like, end of 2025, early 2026, which is exciting. Yeah, that is going to do it for Wall of Eyes. If you like this video, make sure you like and sub. Our goal is to hopefully hit 1,000 subs by September. Let me know what you think of this album down below. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Why? Are you excited for more The Smile in the future? Or would you rather they just went back and did more Radiohead? Check out some of the other videos on my channel. We got videos on the entire Radiohead catalog. I recently did videos on like the Beatles' Abbey Road and Fleetwood Mac by Rumours, and we got even more reactions coming in the future. Join my Discord if you want to interact with the community. You can talk to me on there, and you can just discuss things like music and movies and stuff on there with a whole bunch of different people. You can check out my gaming channel if you want. I don't use it too much, but, you know, it's there, and I stream on there sometimes, so you can go check that out. But until then, I will see you all whenever I next stream or upload. Goodbye.